Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning. And dare I even ask how we're doing today, guys? How we doing? Oh, we're going to do that?
Somewhere, Michael Jordan is chuckling because he knows there's really only one king. There's one GOAT of all time. There's really only one best player on the planet ever. And it's that guy who created that shoe that will live forever.
And that guy got swept in the first round in those very shoes that you have on the table.
When he was scoring 63 a game.
He called it an L, though.
And by the way, just for the record, last night, I didn't win just one case or two cases. I won 7 more cases of Diet Mountain Dew from my friend Shannon Sharpe. I want to thank you for my 3rd swimming pool of Diet Dew that I'm going to build down in my little shanty down in the Beverly Hills Flats. Right?
I thought I was close. I thought I was going to get to 33 points, though, Skip. I was close.
You were close to 33, but 7 threes?
You could maybe
he took
let
10,
him off the hook
but he made 3
for today. And Shannon, do you have anything else you want to say, or should I just get into this?
Go ahead.
Get into it, guys. It was not a Hollywood ending for LeBron and company last night. Anthony Davis tried to play through a groin strain, but only lasted 5.5 minutes as the Lakers fell to the Suns 113-100. LA trailed by 22 after the first quarter and by as many as 29 in the game. LeBron finished with 29 points. Just not enough there, Shannon, on 11 of 26 shooting that included 3 of 10 from long range. Shannon, what percent of the blame does LeBron deserve for the closeout loss? I know this one was tough for you.
I'm not giving LeBron. I'm not really. It's the injuries. AD played 36 games, which is half the season. LeBron played basically a third of the season, missed 27 games. And you Skip, you give up, let a team shoot 10 or 13. And you know the guy, really, there's only one guy that can really beat you. It's Devin Booker. And for some reason, they're like, you know what, Book, go ahead and, get off. I mean, they shot 10 of 13 in the first quarter. They were doomed. I mean, 36-14. Now, we've seen them have a 10-point quarter, a 14-point quarter, a 15-point quarter. You're not beating anybody. And at the end of the day, Skip, this is a 2-7 matchup. It probably should have only gone 5 games. 2-7, because that's how big a lopsided it's supposed to be. But it just goes to credit what people thought of LeBron and what he's capable of doing, that he would a lot of times was favored, even though he was in the 7th seed and he was playing a 2 seed. But Skip, it's just hard to place anything other than injuries. And when we saw the game, we talked about AD. I said, Skip, you had this injury. I've had this injury. You're not playing no NBA game with no groin injury.
You did say that. And you were absolutely, utterly, unequivocally right.
Skip, a lot when I'm talking about injuries with other players, a lot of time I've had those injuries. I've had groin and hamstring and quad and calf injuries, fractured eye sockets and broken collarbones, so I can speak. And I like to think I got a very high pain tolerance. He ain't playing with that. First of all, you can't move. You can't move side to side. You saw how he was moving.
Plus, this isn't about pain tolerance. Once it's pulled, and you got no shot.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
You can see the way we're walking on the court, Skip. So for me, I just wish, and I think that really turned things around. Because I'm not saying they would have won this game had AD not played.
Yep.
But, now all of a sudden AD plays, 2 minutes into the ball game, and now you got to bring someone else in. I don't know why Frank Vogel made that adjustment. Skip. Marc Gasol cannot play the high pick and roll. What did they do constantly last night? High pick and roll. Guys getting wide open threes at the top of the key. That's not his strong suit. I get it. He can space the floor. But what he might give you offensively, he more than takes away defensively. So for me, Skip, look, Book and Crowder, they went crazy in the first quarter, blew the ball game open. Sure, I would have. And I thought someone texted me last night and said, well, how many shots you think LeBron needs to take? I say he needs to take at least 25, but he needs to shoot like 65%. So I know so he's going to make 16, that's 18, 19 of 26 shots for the Lakers to have a chance. And it wasn't even close to that, Skip. They made a valiant effort, try to come back, cut it to 10. I thought if they could have hit one of those threes, maybe get it to 7, put a little bit more pressure, but give the Suns credit. What do? Come down 3, 2, So what could have been a 7-point lead, all of a sudden back up to 17. But I can't put any blame on LeBron. LeBron didn't play well, but I'm not so sure had he played well. He would have need to be 20, what was that, his last year in Cleveland, where he did what he did against Boston, what he did against Indiana, what he did against some of those games that Toronto, Skip. I just don't know if he's able to put those type of games together over a period of time anymore. That might be a thing of the past, and so that's why I'm saying I believe he needs more help.
So
yes, I'm saying
when we boil this down to the percent of blame, Shannon Sharpe is assigning
40.
to LeBron James. Oh, 40. You went to 40. I thought you were going to go 0.
No, 40%. I give him 40%.
Okay, all right. Well, that's better than you,
No,
said none.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, 40%. I give him 40.
Okay. I need context here.
Okay.
I need to remind everybody that the Lakers were a 3-point favorite at home.
Mm-hmm.
I need to remind everybody that on yesterday's show, you picked the Lakers to win that game.
Yes.
So your context was you expected them
Yes.
to win the game, and that was before we had any thought that Anthony Davis would even try to step on the floor.
I had removed him from the equation. I didn't factor that in.
All right, so we have to keep our bar set way up here because you continue to call LeBron, just for the record, the best player on the planet, correct? Mm-hmm. And he is the absolute, no doubt, no debate GOAT, in your opinion, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got all that as our context for the fact that he deserves 75% of the blame for what didn't happen last night at Staples Center.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Anthony Davis. I give him high marks as a guy who, as I call him, AD, always dinged. Mm-hmm. There's always something with him. I have wondered about his pain threshold, but to his credit, to his team's credit, and how much he cared about his team, you have to give him high marks for saying, I'm just going to go out there. If I have to just walk around on the court, which is basically what he was going to have to do.
Yep.
They said even at shoot-around, Schroeder said he couldn't even, walk.
Right.
Okay? And so I say, thank you for trying. Mm-hmm. You win some new respect from me for at least trying to go out there and do something. And he didn't even take a shot in his, was it 5.5 minutes?
5.5 minutes.
Okay? And he got a rebound, I think, and had 1 assist. So, okay, bully for you. He tried to play a little bit of defense, but that's where it really got him, because when he tried to go with Book down the lane, he can't. He just, you're asking it, and it's just going to say, no, sorry, no, we're done.
And what do basketball players have to do, Skip? They have to side lateral. Side to side. How you going to do that?
It's about half the battle is side lateral. Okay.
Yes.
So when I heard our man Chris Haynes say at the beginning of the game last night, obviously he was on TNT, that Lakers doctors had cleared him, saying he couldn't hurt it any worse. I sat back and thought, you can't hurt it any worse?
Can.
Are you
tear it off the
kidding
bone.
me? What are you talking about? You can hurt it 10 times more.
You absolutely can.
You can tear it so badly, it could be a 6-month rehab.
They have to go reattach it. Yeah, absolutely
right?
you can. Yes.
Okay, so I didn't get that. And I don't really understand how he was cleared. I think he just cleared himself. I think he just said, look, I can do this. And finally, Vogue said, or somebody, maybe it went all the way up to Jeannie Buss, said, just let him go. Let him try.
Right.
Okay, so now we get back to the Willis Reed syndrome, and I know a lot of our younger viewers don't know this, but in 1970 in the NBA Finals, this is the all-time epic classic, Game 7, Willis Reed had torn a thigh muscle.
Yeah, he tore his quad.
Yeah, it's the quad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Tony Parker injury.
Yes.
We've seen Charles Barkley
and Kawhi.
And Kawhi. He had a thigh bruise, actually. But the point was he did that in Game 5. Right. He missed Game 6. So now it's Game 7 at Madison Square Garden against Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Correct.
And he stuns the Lakers by hobbling onto the floor for the tip-off. He was the regular season MVP and the All-Star Game MVP, just to keep this in context. Right. And he went ahead and played it. I'd forgotten. The lore had it in my mind that he only lasted like 2 minutes and made 1 shot. No, he played 27 minutes. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like what AD was fighting against last night. Actually, Willis Reed played reasonably well. He made his first 2 little jump shots. Yep. He scored 4 points and had 3 rebounds in 27. He played into the second half. Right. And he actually defended Wilt Chamberlain at a very high level, because by Wilt's standards, he had a bad game. He only scored 21 points on 10 of 16 shots. And you know how Wilt was. Right. He'd get you 50 easy. So that turned the tide, and then Walt Clyde Frazier, I know a lot of the Knicks.
He went bonkers.
He went crazy. He had 36 and 19 assists, and it was one of the all-time great Game 7s ever played.
Yep.
So, again, Willis got to go along for that ride, but that was day and night compared to what happened to AD last night. You can argue he was just trying to inspire his team, but did it work?
No.
No, it seemed to inspire Devin Booker, right?
Skip, for me, and you say when you picked them, I was like, Skip, and what did I tell you? And I prefaced it. I said, Skip, they can't play any worse than they did in Game 5, can they? And when they started the game, what did they do? They played worse in Game 6 than they did in Game 5, just when I thought they couldn't.
Okay, so here's what got me about LeBron. Not until the third quarter last night did I see him go into all-out attack mode. He was back into sit-back mode at tip-off, and I don't understand it. And Shannon, I got to tell you, to me, your man LeBron last night looked like he was aging right before your very eyes. He looked like he was worn out right before your very eyes. In the second half, when he went into attack mode, he seemed to wear out fairly quickly, and he just looked flat out, big sweat, gassed by the fourth quarter when they needed him to help them make one last run, because they had a shot in the mid-fourth quarter. They actually cut it to 10 at one point and had a shot, okay?
Right, Skip, and it's hard, Skip. And people say, well, he should just do it. You can't. You cannot physically. Even the greats, as effortless as Michael could glide through the air and clear everybody, he stopped driving as much. Kobe stopped driving as much because you just can't physically do it as we start to age. You know, age happens to us all.
Okay, well, it was happening to him last night because I couldn't see LeBron James with 3 exclamation points. I couldn't see the king.
I can see him step on his, Skip, but there are some plays right around the basket that LeBron, those are and one.
Couldn't finish. I agree. And in the first quarter, they couldn't finish Phoenix because Phoenix finished them. Right from jump. Devin Booker said, no, I got this. He makes 6 out of 6 threes in the first quarter and scores 22 points.
You said he couldn't shoot threes.
Well, he can't. He's a 34%.
I can't tell.
Wait a second. He's a 34% three-point shooter this year, this regular season, 35 for his career. He's way below average. He's worse for his career than LeBron James is, and LeBron's below average as a three-point shooter. But the point is, he came out, and I've called him again and again on this show. He's a star, not a superstar. That looked like a superstar coming out party because he was just saying, no, in your house, I got this.
Well, Skip, you know what they used to say is that he's a guy that can get you buckets on a bad team. Now he's getting you buckets on a good team. So the perception of him will change now because he can always put the ball. Skip, you don't score 70 points in the NBA game without being good at it. So now that he's going to start to win it with Chris Paul. Now you're just like, okay, he's going to start to get into that superstar threshold.
Okay. So remember, the Lakers were the #1 team in defensive efficiency in the league.
I couldn't tell.
Okay, well, I couldn't tell in the first quarter because I thought LeBron was the driving force of a very good defense, a smart defense, a coordinated defense, a unified defense, and they got absolutely torched. They weren't running a second defender at him until it was too late. They tried to single him up, and they dared him to shoot threes in the first quarter because that's what the numbers tell you should do.
Skip, blitz him. Get the ball out of his head. Okay, Jay Crowder, if you can make 10 of those, so be it. Mikal Bridges, if you can make 5, 6 threes, so be it. I can live with that. Skip, I know what Book can do. I've seen him go get 70. I've seen him get 50. So I know he can put the ball in the basket. Make the others do it.
Okay, so from jump, I did not see desperate fire in LeBron's eyes. I did not see I refuse to lose in my building in a closeout game. He wasn't refusing to lose because they just took the game over, Phoenix did, from the tip-off. And they won the first quarter 36-14, and by all accounts, the big picture of it was over after a quarter.
Thank you. Yes.
Remember, AD goes out, and then it seemed like the whole team just lost heart from there because it only seemed to start to get worse.
The Lakers scored 25 or less points in 12 of the 24 quarters. Let that sink in for a second. They scored 20 points or less in 5 quarters.
I mean, to get 14 in the first quarter when you have LeBron James on your team, it's just unacceptable.
You remember 2 nights ago, they scored 10. You scored 10 points in 12 minutes.
The Los Angeles Lakers of Magic Johnson lore, of Showtime.
Yes.
They're scoring 14 and 12 and 10 a quarter.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's just wrong.
And Devin Booker got 22. Devin Booker got 22 in the first by himself.
Well, he outscored them by 7 by himself.
Yes.
Not 8. He outscored them by 8.
And then you throw in Crowder's 3 threes to get him kick-started. It's over.
Okay.
It's kind of like what the Lakers did to Miami in Game 6.
I got it.
Remember, they jumped on him and it was over.
So here's where LeBron really lost me, was in the second quarter. It's getting completely out of control. It's 45-18. And if we could see what he did at 45-18 with the turnover pass, this just looked like he didn't care anymore at this point. I don't see LeBron do this. What is that? That looks like some preseason turnover where he just didn't care. And then that's the second turn. He came right back down 4 minutes later and just threw it right into Jay Crowder's knees. And you're better than these 2 turnovers. And again, you're down 45-18 and 55-31. But you know, and I know, there was still a ton of time left.
Yeah.
Like these.
Because they ended up making a 10-point ball game, so clearly.
Okay, so how can you be? It looked like you were once again disengaged, like you were almost disinterested, like you were disassociating from the mess on the floor.
Well, this is why I'm going to push back. For the simple fact, Skip, is that they did get it down to 10. If he didn't care or if they didn't care, that's all the makings of a 40-point blowout loss.
Okay, so here we go, third quarter. And I'm going to show you real quick 4 straight plays in which there's LeBron James. I've always called him the greatest attacker of the basket I've ever seen. Nobody can drive it better than LeBron James. Does he have his lift right now? Well, either through age or attrition or ankle, he doesn't quite have his lift. So this is third quarter LeBron. Okay, well, that'll work, right? Jay Crowder can't keep him from the rim. I'm sorry, he just can't. So Book's got him. And that's LeBron James. That's who I thought I would see in the first quarter. That'll work, right? Okay, he can still rise up and dunk. Okay, and here's the fourth play. I mean, that's how many times have we seen that in his past where you just said he's unstoppable. You can't stop that. And it ignited a slow but sure rally that never got to the furious stage, but they were just chipping and chipping away, right?
Right.
And then in the fourth quarter, they did cut it to 10.
Yes.
Okay, well, when they got it to 10, I know what you were doing. You were thinking, I got this.
Yeah.
And I know Staples only has 6,000 or 7,000 people, but it sounded like 17 or 20,000 people, right? And then here was the irony of the fourth quarter to me. This is 3:23 left, and Chris Paul had just finally missed a shot, and you get it back, and it comes down to Wes Matthews taking a 3 that could have cut it to 8. Cut it to 8. Well, this is it right here. Watch this. Okay, this is it. That's the shot of the game, and he missed it pretty badly. If that goes in, I think the roof falls on the Phoenix Suns, because remember, LeBron had played almost 40 more playoff games than the whole Phoenix roster combined. And I think at that point, it wouldn't have made him old. I think it would have made him too experienced for the Phoenix Suns. I'm watching with Ernestine. I said, hey, you better buckle up now because the Lakers got a shot. And when he had that shot, I thought, Wes Matthews, but here's the irony of that. Wes Matthews played a career-low 19.5 minutes a game. He shot a career-worst 35% from the floor and a career-worst 34% from 3. And he averaged 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist for the Los Angeles Lakers. And somehow it comes down to Wesley Matthews has the shot of shots, right?
Yep.
Well, he wasn't that guy for you all year. So you had the wrong guy taking the right shot at the right time.
But you see what they do? They force the ball into someone's hand, someone else's hand. Now, what were the Lakers doing? Okay, go ahead, Book. Get what you want. Jay Crowder. Okay, I understand the first three games, Jay Crowder was not shooting the 3 well, but he's very streaky. He sees a few go in early, well, you're going to have to deal with him.
Well, he made his first one, and then he made 6 out of 9.
Right. He made like his first 3, Skip.
And I got to give him props because he's taken a lot of abuse through this whole series, some of it from LeBron. If I could remind everybody, this was your pinnacle of the series, was Game 3 with 7 minutes left. Right. Remember what LeBron did to him? He was just clowning him.
Oh, yeah.
Just take. This is the end of Game 3. It's a blowout. LeBron's got this. LeBron got this. Watch Big Penguin. Watch Drummond on the sideline, on the bench. LeBron's leaning. He's going to lean. He's going to lean. Drummond's leaning with him.
I feel you on the right.
I feel you. And then I'll wheel on you. And there's vintage up and under LeBron James. And the bench is going crazy. That was virtually the end of the Lakers, because that put you up 2-1, and you were about to lose 3 straight games.
Yep.
Okay, so I admired Jay Crowder last night. I've been critical of him occasionally because sometimes he just gets abused by LeBron and just can't even deal with him. Last night, he rose and shone in this game. He made his threes, and then, do you remember the play? It's 2:43 left. This was sort of the epitome of Jay Crowder actually outplaying the king in his house. This is the last play. Crowder blocked that. From behind, he just goes up and blocks it. Watch this. Crowder just goes up, and they gave him a clean block. And it was like the ultimate humiliation for LeBron, because that pretty much just ended the night right there, right?
Basically. Skip, like I said, he missed a couple of those right around the rim, Skip. He had an opportunity, and the LeBron that we know, he finishes those. He missed a bunny last night, Skip. I mean, he left it short. And then he got it back, and he ended up Jay Crowder ended up tying him up for a jump ball. But, Skip, I know a lot of it at the end of the game, there's a lot of talking. I don't have a problem with Jay Crowder. I don't have a problem with Booker doing all the talking. To the victor goes the spoil.
Well, finally, the ref said, you guys are out of here. I don't think they tossed Booker, but they tossed Jay. And you know what? He happily sprinted to the locker room because he knew he had gotten his revenge.
Exactly. I don't have a problem with guys talking at the end of the game. Because y'all was chirping. We all been chirping the whole game. Now I get to chirp the loudest because I'm the last one doing all this chirping. So I don't have a problem with that, Skip. But when I look at it, I just look at AD's season, half the season. And, Skip, AD wasn't the AD he was his first year in L.A. AD averaged less than 22 points a game. So he didn't really look like the AD that averaged 26, that was 9, that averaged almost 2 blocks a game. He didn't look like that guy. LeBron goes down.
Okay.
If I'm AD, I'm going to go, Skip, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at what I'm doing. Why do I constantly have these lower extremity injuries? What am I doing? So, Skip, you know how they do these video games? They put you in this black outfit and they put all these dots on you? He might need to go look that biometrically. So when they see him, how he jumps, how he lands, how he moves, there's something going on for him. Skip, AD's what, 28? 29 maybe? He shouldn't have these kind of injuries. It's not like he's Shaq size or Joel Embiid. If he was that heavy, I could say, okay, that's a lot of weight, Skip. That's 300-plus pounds up and down on a nightly basis.
But I'm going to remind you, in Game 2, Anthony Davis, this is at Phoenix, he goes 34, 10, and 7 assists. That's a monster game. And he turns it right around back home in Game 3 with 34 and 11 rebounds. And from the time he left, after is the first half of, what was that, Game 4?
Game 4,
From that point on, your Lakers got outscored by 47 points because it became a mismatch. Well, I've told you, my conclusion is that right now, at this stage and age for LeBron, Anthony Davis is a little more valuable than LeBron is. I mean, what are your eyes telling you? Like, you have to have this guy because when it's just LeBron or bust, then you just bust.
I think the thing is that, Skip, there are people that like peanut butter. There's some people that like jelly and a peanut butter sandwich or a jelly sandwich. But when you combine the two,
okay, I got that. But peanut butter is better for you because it's got a little protein in it. So AD is protein.
Which one tastes better?
Well, obviously jelly does, but which is better for you?
Hey, I want something to taste good instead of, be good.
Okay. Well, do you agree with me? Peanut butter is definitely better for you?
Yeah, it is. No, but jelly is fruit. You like fruit, right?
Fruit is it's fruit hidden by it's camouflaged by 90% sugar.
I grew up on that grape jelly.
Yeah, so did everybody.
No, you had apple. Actually, I had apple.
No mercy. For the first time in his career, LeBron has been bounced from the playoffs in the first round. The Suns jumped out to a 36-14-point lead in the first quarter, and despite his best efforts, LeBron's 29 points was just not enough to bring the Lakers back within striking distance. When asked about the blemish on his first-round record, LeBron said, quote, "It doesn't really matter to me in that fashion. What matters to me is getting this team back healthy." Shannon, how much did this first-round exit tarnish LeBron's legacy?
It doesn't. And wherever you are, LeBron, you're still there. If you believe he's the best player in the league, the GOAT, he's still that. If you don't, you never did. LeBron James is a 4-time champion with 4 Finals MVP, 17 straight All-Star game appearances, All-Star, which is an NBA record, 13-time first-team All-NBA, which is an NBA record. So for me, I don't think this does nothing. I mean, he's 14-1 in first-round appearances. Does it tarnish Brady's legacy that he lost to Eli Manning twice? who 3 times led the NFL in INTs, that he lost to Nick Foles, who got benched twice in Philly, got benched in Jacksonville to Gardner Minshew, and got benched for the guy that he came in to replace, Mitchell Trubisky. It does not. That he lost to Joe Flacco, who you dubbed Joe Fluco. He beat him twice. No, it happens. So if Tom Brady loses in the playoffs next year, is it going to tarnish his legacy? I don't think it does. You are where you are. These guys, once you get to this level, this far in the game, and you are as accomplished as a Tom Brady, as a LeBron James, I don't believe a loss tarnishes his legacy, his resume, whatever you want to say, because he's built up so much good deed. The most playoff games, the most playoff wins, number 1 in points, number 2 in assists, number 2 in triple doubles. He's top 10 in every statistical category in the playoffs. So for me, it doesn't tarnish it, Skip. And if you play sports, and if you play long enough, somebody will get you. Floyd Mayweather's the only one that hadn't been got. But if he keep, jogging around, Skip, even though it's not a sanctioned bout, they'll get you. If you play long enough, if you do something long enough, somebody will eventually get you. And so, year 18, he had been unblemished in the first round, the previous 14 tries. Now he has a blip on his resume. But for me, I don't think it tarnishes his legacy one iota.
Okay. First of all, I have to address your Brady slander that you just tossed out in the middle of the table. Obviously, the first Eli Super Bowl, all Brady did with 2.5 minutes left was drive them 70 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. Go ahead to put them up 14-10, as he always did in every Super Bowl he's played. And that loss was on the head of one Bill Belichick, who then let Eli go 75 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. I'm sorry, but he can't play defense. They don't allow him to play defense.
He couldn't.
Okay, so that actually enhanced his playoff legacy.
No, it did not. He lost.
And then Joe Flacco has one of the great playoff records in just sheer passing numbers that we've ever seen.
Do you call him Playoff Joe or you call him Joe Fluco? I just need to know which one you refer to him.
In regular season, he's obviously Joe Fluco.
Okay.
And obviously, the Nick Foles Super Bowl was completely on Bill Belichick, because all Brady did was throw for a playoff record 505 yards and put up 33 points, which should have been plenty enough to beat the Eagles. But Belichick's defense gave up 41 to the backup quarterback. It's just all on the head coach's head.
You see what you do? Anytime Brady loses, it's always someone else's fault.
That was enhancing his legacy. Okay, now let's get back to this game. Look, you're so dug in that LeBron is the GOAT, that now he's invincible. Now nothing, you can't tarnish anything. He's now made of what's it called? Teflon. Like he's got a Teflon legacy that you cannot damage.
What could Brady do to tarnish his legacy?
What could he do?
Yeah. In sports-wise. I ain't talking about off the field. I'm talking about sports-related. Well, so what game could he lose?
He's won 7
No,
Super
that's
Bowls.
beside. No, you said losses tarnish legacies. Okay. So what loss could he have to tarnish his legacy?
I guess if he stunk up a first round of the playoff game, like a wild card.
He did that against Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Go back and look it up. 2009.
Well, he didn't stink in that.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Go check the tape, folks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go back to this playoff series.
Okay.
This was a disaster for LeBron James. And I'm sorry, it's going to live on his legacy. Just as he tarnished his legacy in 2011 in the finals, it was an epic fail. It was the chosen one turning into the frozen one. I've never seen anything like games 4, 5, and 6 in that finals.
Skip, I'm not saying that one.
Okay, well, that happened.
Yes.
And then game 6 of 2013 happened when he had 3 unforced error turnovers in the last 2 minutes of that game. Yeah, they did, because Ray Allen saved his legacy.
You see, but you see, Skip.
All right, but then in 2014, his team got blown off the floor by a record finals margin. His what? His team.
Okay, so he's a part of the team.
Well, Michael Jordan was part of a team, too, but that never happened to Michael like that. He never got blown out like that.
Yeah, he did. The first 3 rounds. First time he got to the playoff. First 3 times.
By a record finals margin or record
No, he didn't make it to the
margin?
finals.
Okay.
First round. That's what we're talking about. He in the first round.
So let's add up. Let's sum up what we just saw or didn't see from your man LeBron James. He averaged 23 points a game. That's his lowest in any playoff series ever. Mm-hmm. He averaged 7 rebounds a game. That's his lowest in any playoff series ever. Mm-hmm. He shot 61% from the free throw line. That's his worst in any playoff series ever. He averaged a career high 8 3-point attempts a game through these 6 games. That's his highest ever, which is upside down from what I wanted to see last night. As we saw in the third quarter when he went to attack mode, they started to chip away at the lead. So it's like wrong, wrong, wrong. And then what's really wrong are the fourth quarters of these 6 games. If I look at the numbers, these are fourth quarter combined cumulative numbers. LeBron James over the last 6 games against the Phoenix Suns shot 11 of 30 from the floor in the fourth quarter. That's 37%. As you know and I know, he's a career 51% from the floor, okay? Now, from 3, he was 2 of 12 in the fourth quarter. Well, that's 17%. That's not very good. Free throw line, he was 6 of 12 in the fourth quarter through the 6 games. What I hate about it is it's way too few attempts. It's only 12 attempts, but he made half of them, and 50% is obviously his career playoff worst in the fourth quarters from the free throw line. So it's wrong, wrong, and wronger on all the numbers I just gave you.
But Skip, what you're trying to do is that you're trying to sell me something that comes with my meal. You're trying to sell it to me a la carte. If I get a burger, I shouldn't have to pay for the fries separate. If I buy a burger, I shouldn't have to pay for lettuce and tomato separate. Okay, he had a bad series.
This was the burger. I just sold you the burger. Okay, well, it's all burger.
Okay, well, the fries and the lettuce and tomato and onions come with the burger. What you're trying to do is like, okay, look at this series. He played bad, but look at this and look at this. No, they go together. You can't sell it to me a la carte.
I'm forcing you to eat all of it at once, and it's going to make you sick.
Skip, he didn't play well, but the question was not whether or not I'm not disputing whether or not he played good or bad. Okay. I'm not disputing that.
But you can't put blinders on and sweep this one under the carpet.
I didn't, Skip. I didn't. All I'm saying is how does it damage his legacy?
Okay. Let's look at the fourth quarter of game number 1. Chris Paul got hurt, as you know, in the second quarter of game number 1. Okay. This is at Phoenix. You got a chance to just seize control of the series. And what happens in the fourth quarter? LeBron goes 1 of 4 from the floor, 0 of 3 from 3, 1 of 4 from the free throw line, and has a grand total of 3 points, and Phoenix slowly pulls away and wins 99-90. That's just wrong. That's not the king. That's not the GOAT. It's just wrong.
But let me ask you a question. Did any of that not happen in this series? So, in other words, the series transpired with 6 games. So we're going to take the 6 games. Everything that happened in the game. So we're going to use that fruit of the poisonous tree. So everything in there is poison. So when you take game 1 through 6, anything that Bron didn't do well falls up under that scope, under that umbrella. Okay. What you're trying to do is you're trying to it's like, okay, well, this is here. This goes separate. Well, does that go separate? No, it's the same series.
Did he have one single game out of 6 where you sat back and said, there's the king? There's the best player on the planet.
What game was that? Was that game 3? Game 2 or 3? I thought game 2 or 3, maybe 3, where he the third quarter he came out really aggressive. Because remember he had those 7 drives to the basket. He scored on 5 of them, and we saw that's the LeBron. That's the LeBron we thought we were going to see
game 2
forward.
Season-saving game at Phoenix. Anthony Davis goes 34, 10, and 7 assists with 3 blocks. LeBron goes along for the ride, and he's pretty good. He's 23, 4, and 9. Yeah. Not bad, but he's going along for that ride because that's your dominating player.
But what did they say? AD said, this game was on me. I will be better. What did they do? They made a conscious effort to get AD the ball, to get him established early. He did a great job of getting DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble, and he began to eat. So LeBron says, look here. Okay, AD, do your thing. I'll stand back. Third quarter, LeBron comes out aggressive, and they really blow the game open.
And what happened in game 2 that I wanted to see LeBron do? Anthony Davis got to the free throw line 21 times and made 18 out of 21 free throws. Wow. Then we come home. Game 3, back at Staples. AD goes 34 and 11, and he shoots 14 free throws and makes 12 of them. Very un-LeBron-esque, right? And LeBron goes along for the ride and has 21, 6, and 9. Not bad, but the domination came from Anthony Davis.
Skip.
And all of a sudden, you're up 2-1 because of Anthony Davis.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, AD was the reason why we were up. Okay. But the question was, what Jenny asked, this game, Not game, the series. And I said it doesn't, because what about the series in which LeBron James has single-handedly won? You don't say, well, that enhances it. That you've never done that. See, you've never yelled as loud when LeBron has done something as you do when he didn't. He didn't come up good. He didn't play well. I'm not here to try to sugarcoat. He didn't play well in this series, but I'm also not here to say you can just discount 18 years of body of work in one series.
I told you, Boston 2012 leading to that finals.
Yeah.
That was great. That was big time.
Okay,
Game 6 at Boston.
What about
that's as big as he ever played.
What about Boston his last year? Game 7, Game 6.
Against the team without Kyrie? Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, so you see?
Jaylen Brown's like 18 and Tatum's like 17?
Skip,
is that what we're talking about? I don't even know what. How can we even introduce that to the equation?
Let me ask you, but see, this is what you do. When LeBron does something really great, you minimize it and say, oh, they was the baby Thunder. Oh, they was the baby Spurs.
Well, they were the baby Thunder, but he took over. He had a lot of help in that series.
Oh, they was the baby Celtics. It's always the, you talk about, what do you call them? You call them the baby dinosaurs.
Okay, but do you remember in that series when he broke through and won his first ring? Do you remember Shane Battier in Game 2? Yeah. Do you remember Mike Miller in the closeout? Do you remember Mario Chalmers in Game 4?
Yeah, I remember Paxson. Do you remember Paxson? A Game 5 against the Lakers?
Shot and Curl.
No. Not the Lakers. Not when the Lakers, when they closed out the Lakers in the Forum. Don't do that, Skip Bayless. You know what happened.
6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs.
Skip, I'm not trying, but see, what you and Jordan apologists try to do is like Jordan played.
He doesn't have an apologist. He doesn't need any apology.
What you guys try to do is say, Jordan, all of this, he did all of it. But when LeBron wins, somebody saved his legacy. You never said, so did Metta World Peace save Kobe's legacy?
Sure, he helped.
No, ain't no help. Did he save his legacy with that 3 against Boston? No, you never said Steve Kerr. You never said John Paxson saved Michael's legacy.
Just for the record, for perspective, remember, after AD goes out, the Lakers, LeBron's Lakers, he's flying solo. They lose 3 straight games in which in Game 4, they trail by as many as 18. In Game 5, they trail by as many as 36. And last night, they trailed by as many as 29. Yeah. That tarnishes the legs. That means you were mismatched. You had LeBron James on the court in a year in which early this year, maybe a third of the way through the season, people were saying he's the MVP.
So let me ask you a question. So if this series tarnishes LeBron's legacy, what does those 2 years in Washington do to Michael Jordan?
I told you he was.
No.
He retired for 3 years. He was completely out. He let himself go. I'd be the first to tell you he let himself go. And he came back at age 38 and 39, and he was a ceremonial player who averaged 20 points and 6 rebounds.
So let me ask you a question.
Those were bad teams. Those were sub-500 teams.
Whoa. So let me ask you a question. If he had won a championship, would you have said he showed up out of shape, or would you not count that ring?
Well, he didn't.
Exactly my point. Yeah. So, Skip, you can't say, hold up. You can't hold the employer. If I offer somebody a job interview and the person shows up drunk, you can't say, well, hey, you shouldn't have offered him the job, brought him in for an interview. It's incumbent on you. You knew you were coming back. You knew you was Michael Jordan. So why would you show up out of shape? So I'm just asking you again for clarification. I want people at home to hear this. So do you say the last 2 years in Washington is a knock on Michael Jordan's resume? Because if he's the GOAT, he's got to get those teams to the playoffs.
38 and 39. LeBron is 36.
Hold on. Michael Jordan, what year was that? Year 14, year 15. What year is this for Michael?
He had already been out of basketball for 5 years.
Hold on. So let me get this straight. You mean to tell me your guy took a 4.5-year break and he could only go to 38? My guy been going 18 straight through. Remember, he took a year and a half off in 94.
I thought he was Iron Man.
No.
I thought he was indestructible.
I'm just trying to understand why.
I thought he was the most durable superstar ever.
I'm trying to figure out why your guy needed those breaks. You still haven't told me that.
Well, I told you why he needed the first break. It was forced on him.
No, ain't no force. Ain't no force on him. So why you need a 3-year break?
Just on principle, he said, if you run my coach out of Chicago, I will quit. And he quit for 3 years just for the sake of Phil Jackson.
Okay, but if he's the GOAT, if he's what everybody says he is, he has to get those teams to the playoffs. That's what you told me about LeBron, because you told me if LeBron is what I believe he is, he's got to beat the Suns. A 7 seed should beat the 2 seed. So if Michael Jordan is what you and others have said he is, he's got to get the Wizards to the playoffs.
Nope. Wasn't capable.
Wow! So
wasn't capable.
What did that do to his legacy? Michael Jordan, for 2 years, wasn't capable of getting the team to the playoffs.
Okay, well, let's close the case on this tarnishing of LeBron's legacy, because even you admitted with 5:40 left in Game 5 at Phoenix, LeBron just checked out on his team and said, I can't watch this anymore. And he left the bench and walked straight up the tunnel and sat the rest of the game in the locker room with Anthony Davis and said, I don't want to associate with you. It's such a poor example to set for a leader, and you were the first to say, you're right.
Skip,
it's a bad look.
But Skip, all of the things that you're saying happen in these series. You're trying to make people think that it's a la carte, that there are separate issues. Everything that you said, he didn't come up big in the fourth quarter from the free throw line, the three-point line, or the field. The turnovers that happened, him going to the locker room early, all of that happened in the period.
And by the way, I'm not even going to bring up the fact that he just ran straight off the floor last night without shaking hands, because I would be a hypocrite, because I do not mind when Tom Brady runs off the field and does not shake hands.
Time out. What about in the pandemic? Weren't they not supposed to be shaking hands after the game?
I don't know.
Oh, you do know.
You mean are you talking about last night?
Yes.
Everybody was hugging and kissing after the game.
Is that what they're supposed to do?
I don't know.
What does the protocol say?
I think we've moved past that.
Oh, no. We
protocol.
have the NBA moved past that?
Well, I don't know. So you're saying he was just observing protocol? I think not.
Let me ask you a question. How many times have we seen LeBron after the game since the pandemic hit, shaking people's hand after the game?
I don't know.
Well, say thank you.
Okay. Well, why did everybody else shake except LeBron?
Whoa. Did he not give Devin Booker his jersey? D-Book came over there and we gave him the jersey.
Okay.
Good looking out, D-Book. I mean, come on, Skip. You see what you do. You see what you do.
Devin Booker said he was inspired by Kobe's jersey hanging up in the rafters. He was looking up at it, and I'm thinking, wait a second. Kobe's a Laker, and you just eliminated the Lakers in Staples Center.
Skip.
It's like, wow.
We know what D-Book. He had the purple Kobe's on last night.
He did.
Had Kobe on the back of him.
Yep.
We know what a lot of these players think of Kobe Bryant. I'm okay with that. Eventually, maybe one day with another battle, LeBron 23 will be hanging up in the Raptors.
I think it's a good point. I really did like the jersey move. I thought that was important from LeBron to Booker, but at the same time, I don't love that he doesn't shake hands. I know that's the rules right now, but still, it's LeBron. Okay, and there was a quick turnaround this season, and we have to address how it impacted.
Yeah.
It impacted the Lakers. LeBron admitted that he was still not himself coming off his ankle injury during his first-round playoff exit. And as many assume, it could just be Father Time catching up to LeBron. Some say that he also only had 71 days between the end of the bubble season and this year. When asked about this upcoming offseason, LeBron said, quote, "It's going to work wonders for me. I get like 3 months to recalibrate, get my ankle back to 100% where it was." So, Shannon, how much better do you expect LeBron to be next year with this time?
I expect LeBron to be LeBron. I mean, so let me ask you a question, Skip. How do you make the Mona Lisa better? Do you put eyelashes on her? Does she get these eyelashes now, where she can really, So
you are predicting he's going to be every bit of what he's ever been?
I've seen nothing to show me that LeBron James is not going to be what LeBron James was if he's healthy. And he mentioned that. He says, I want to get my ankle back. So, Skip, I believe a lot. As we start to age, take it from a guy that played a professional sport that started to age, it took me longer to get back after injury. Skip, I could have an injury in my 20s. Hey, and the next week, if I miss the game, come back next week, I still go get you 100 in the tub. But as I started to age, that 100 wasn't 100. It'd be like 50. It might be 40. And it might get you close to the goal line, but I didn't have the oomph to get on over the goal line. I believe LeBron, healthy. This was a fast turnaround. And think about it, Skip. It's not a coincidence. For the most part, only the Nuggets advanced to the second round of the teams that were in the bubble that played in the Western Conference or the NBA Finals.
That's a fair point.
So that was a very, very fast turnaround for those guys. Now, look, I'm not big when it comes to sports and excuses. Having played it, nobody cares. Did you deliver? And the Lakers didn't deliver. But I believe a large part of that had to do with health. I don't think the chemistry with this team, I don't think it blended like the previous team blended. Obviously, they ended up winning a championship, so it's easy to say that was a perfect match. But this, for whatever reason, Skip, it just didn't seem like it fit together. But all that being said, AD and LeBron healthy through the first 27 games was 21-26. 21-26. They were right on pace to be even as good, if not better, than what they were last year.
No, what were they? You mean they were
21 through the first 27 games this year.
They were
21 and
21 and 6.
21 and 6.
Okay, got it.
21 and 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And then the last half they were 23 and 27, something like that, Skip. So for me, I just need LeBron to come back healthy. Now, Skip, he comes back 100%, and I see him not being able to finish around the rim, do things that I saw him do this year. Now, I saw him do it a little bit. We saw him do it a little bit against Golden State. We saw him do it here and there. But if he can't come back and consistently do that, then I'll say, okay, Skip, I'm starting to see what you say you saw last year.
Okay.
This will be year 19. He will be 37 at the end of this year. So some decline is expected. Mm-hmm. But I still expect him to average, 24, 25 points, 7, maybe not the same level of rebounds, but I do expect him to still get back, be 8, 9 assists.
Okay, so you're going to say that he'll be what percent of LeBron at his greatest? When was he at his greatest? Year 7, 8, 9, I don't know, somewhere in there.
I'm going to say he'll be 90%, 85 to 90% of his best.
Okay, LeBron James will be 90% of his greatest next year. Mm-hmm. That's pretty great. I will give you that. That would be good enough to go win another championship. Yeah. If Anthony Davis can stay healthy, that's probably the biggest if I've ever uttered on this show.
Right.
But if he can, and they mix and match a new group around
there will be a
whole new sport. We're going to talk about that a little later in the show. Who should stay and who should go. Maybe a bunch of them should go.
Yeah.
But if they mix and match as effectively as they did 2 years ago when it was Danny Green and Dwight and JaVale and, the supporting cast around, and it clicked and it worked in the bubble, right?
Yep.
If you can do that, you're saying that LeBron will be 90%, and that would be good enough to you might even be the favorite. I don't know. You'll be up there.
They'll be definitely. AD comes back, LeBron comes back, and depending on who they're going to be top 3. Brooklyn probably be the prohibited favorites.
Okay.
Maybe Milwaukee will be up in that mix also. Utah.
Okay. So back to your Mona Lisa analogy that you began with. I'm going to remind you, she does not age. She hasn't aged 1 second since she was finished.
But I'll just ask you, she's perfection.
Okay, she is perfection, and she has the most mysterious smile in the history of painting.
Is it a smile or is it a smirk?
I don't know. That's the question. Okay, you got me. And I can't remember what year she was painted, but she's hundreds of years old, and she hasn't aged a second.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like the picture of Dorian Gray. Do you know that one? Where you stay young forever because you become old in the picture. But the point here is, LeBron doesn't have a picture of Dorian Gray up in his closet in his Malibu house or wherever where he can stay younger because he's going to age some. Right. And so now I ask the ultimate question about what we just witnessed in those 6 games. Was it the ankle or was it father time? It's as simple as that.
Maybe it was a combination of both. But let me ask you this, Skip. Do you believe they will have another condensed season where they're playing this many games?
I give you that. It was tough, especially for a human who's in year 18 in this league, especially for a human who's played more playoff minutes than anybody's ever played.
Right.
Especially for a human who's played way more games and minutes than Michael Jordan played.
Hey, Skip, we've never seen a superstar go into the playoffs coming off a significant injury like he had.
Yep.
So, and the expectations. So even when LaMichael missed all those games with that broken foot, there was no level of expectation. Mm-hmm. No one expected him to beat the Celtics. No one expected him as an 8 seed to go on. I think what happens is LeBron James has so high of expectations that anything that if he doesn't accomplish the goal, people feel let down. That just goes to show you, Skip. Here's a 7th seed they were the second favorite to Vegas of winning the title. That's what people think of him. That's what Vegas thinks of him.
All right, I got it. The ankle was turned, thanks to Solomon Hill, on Saturday afternoon, March 20th, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty good ways back that happened. And I still say, speaking of mysterious, LeBron popped right up, as he always did, from that ankle turn, and he walked it off, and then he started to play again. And I saw him with my own 2 eyes. He went down, camped in the corner, caught a pass, and made a 3. And I saw him actually trot up floor to play defense until he crossed half court, and then he turned to the bench and said, I don't know if I can do this or not.
Skip,
and that was the end of it.
You remember we saw AD? We saw AD try to come back with that groin, with his knee. The adrenaline is flowing. And take it for somebody that had an injury in a game and tried to play. it's hard. I mean, you're like, okay, I'm good. And then you realize, nah, I sprained my MCL in the Super Bowl. Greek, tape it up. Let me go. Man, I went out there and planted, and that thing, I was like, I'm done for the day. So you're going to try it, Skip. I mean, it's only natural that you try it. Let me see because so many times, what have we seen him do? Tighten the shoe up and go back out there.
I mean, dozens of times I've seen it. Even in the bubble in the finals, he turned it one night in like game 2, and I said, uh-oh, that's big trouble.
Right.
Nope, shook it right off.
So,
walked it off, played.
This is what we know, Skip. In the games that LeBron James played this season, the Lakers were 30 and 15. In the games that he didn't play, they were 12 and 15. That's everything else. I don't like to do speculation. I don't like to do conjecture or innuendo. But this is what we know for fact.
Okay.
In games that we played, he was 15 games over 500. In the games that he didn't play, they were 3 games under.
And this is what I know for a fact. Without Anthony Davis versus playoff teams this year, LeBron James was 1-8. Yikes.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
1-8.
Okay, let's do this. What do you think Giannis' record would be without Chris Middleton and True Holiday against playoff teams? So we're going to take all the superstars.
I don't put Giannis in LeBron's category.
The way I look at it, maybe over history, but they're all considered superstars. And this is why yesterday my critique of Kawhi, if you say he's a superstar, he should get criticized and critiqued like superstars, like a KD. So if you take...
anybody criticize Kawhi Leonard more than I?
No, me. I have. But let me ask you a question, Skip. If I take James Harden and Kyrie away from Kevin Durant, how far do you think Kevin Durant's going to lead the Nets?
I don't know. With the depth on that team, they'd go a ways.
They get swept by Milwaukee. Guarantee it.
No.
You say, hold on. Without Kyrie and James Harden, you believe Kevin Durant would lead the Nets past Milwaukee? You out your mind. All of it.
He's another one of those guys I don't bet against in big moments.
He couldn't lead out the Western Conference. He got out of the Western Conference 12 without Steph and Clay. He had Russ.
That was the problem. He had Russ.
Oh, my goodness. So, see, Russ get blamed for everything.
Well, I blamed him from the start for that one. That's why Kevin won it out. I can't win with him as my primary decision maker. He dribbles it up the floor every time. What do we just see from Russ? What just happened against the Sixers? In those last couple of games, they had chances. He was 3 for 19, and then he just turns it over. Yeah. Okay, he's just hard to sort of live with. Fun to watch, hard to live with.
But, Skip, this notion, if you think about it, Skip, the league is a lot different than it was. And what you're seeing is that superstars are pairing up because they realize they can't do it by themselves. And so they're getting 2 together in clumps of 2. And now what the Brooklyn's done is 3.
I got it. What I don't know is, was that ankle still ailing him so much that he had no more lift because he couldn't finish?
No.
Last night, he couldn't finish. Is that age and attrition, or is that the ankle?
Even the dunk, he didn't elevate like we normally see him.
That takes effort. Even the up and under on Jay Crowder, when he was just clowning him, he had to kind of oomph it. You know, he had to work at it.
But let's give him, if I'm LeBron, I'm not touching a basketball for the first 125, 130 days. I'm going to get my body, I'm probably going to take 3 to 4 weeks to just let my body just recover. I don't do nothing. I ain't going to put no iron on it. I ain't going to do nothing. And then I'm going to go back in the lab.
Okay.
And I'm going to study. And I'm going to get my trainers. I'm going to get my group. And says, okay, I'm going into year 19. How do I make sure I avoid the nagging injuries, but I'm able to come back from something that would normally keep somebody down a week or 2. So how do we do that? What do I need to change? Do I need to change my nutrition? Do I need to eat less of this, more of that? My training, my sleep, what do I need to do?
So my conclusion to this discussion, and again, this is unknowable at this point, but I did see age, and I'm not sure it was just the ankle that took away some of his rise. He's now advertising that Mountain Dew product Rise. He should be guzzling it. I think he needs more Rise.
He might not. I'll give you an example. Let's look at Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis, I believe, is the greatest long jumper of all time. 4-time Olympic champion from 84 to 96. Skip, what he couldn't do as he started to age is put together 4 or 5 28-feet jumps. But what he could do is he could just win. He would land that one, he could have that one jump, that 128.5 jump, that 128.7 jump that would win the competition. But he couldn't do it back to back to back to back. So maybe LeBron James can't give you 5 30-point games in succession. But this year without AD, he was 25, 8, and 8. Now he averaged 25, 7, and 7 throughout the entirety of the year. But even without AD, so he was still the same. So maybe he can't give you those virtuosos back to back to back, but he still has it in him.
I'm not saying he ran headlong into the wall. I'm not saying he tumbled over the cliff, but I think we'll see about 50% of LeBron at his greatest next year. About 50%.
85 is the bottom.
That's still pretty good.
85 is the bottom.
No mercy.
Where are they, Skip? Where are the shoes? Behold, my beloved Kawhis. I did not bring them out here to put them on. No, I brought them out here to throw them away. One Kawhi and two Kawhis gone. And I'm done with him, and I'm done with the Clippers.
These came just a bit too close to me, Skip. I'm not going to take that personally at all. And yes, we are over them. I have to say, that may have been one of my favorite moments, but I'm sorry that it was Skip, because Kawhi and the Clippers are staring down elimination tonight in Dallas after scoring only 19 in a Game 4 loss. Luka's neck injury appeared better after he dropped 42 points in the Game 5 win in LA. The Clippers find themselves as 2.5-point favorites, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. So, Shannon, who wins and what is the score for this one?
Man, I took the Clippers in a close one, Skip. 105 to 104. I'm not so sure. The question that I have, because I know what Luka's going to do. Luka's going to get his normal stat line, somewhere 30, 35 points, probably high rebounds.
Only 30 or 35?
Yeah, he'll
I'd take that.
No, I'm saying that's what he's averaging getting the series.
I thought you were going to say 40 or 45.
No, it's really not the points that he's getting. What's killing the Clippers is the assist total. Because he's getting if he gets 4 to double-digit assists, what does that mean, Skip? Most of his assists come on threes. And that means somebody's making those threes.
Yep.
Now, if you're going to tell me Hardaway Jr. and Finney-Smith are going to shoot the ball better than they have over the last 3 games, I say, Skip, you about to come home with the Lakers. Y'all about to join us on this vacation. We'll say that we say the plane. Right now we holding on. We know y'all got later rivals, but we're going to wait y'all out and come to Cancun with us. But I just believe Kawhi and Paul George are going to try to get back to what they were in games 3 and 4, which is putting the ball on the floor and getting to the paint. Now, I don't know if Rick Carlisle, maybe that was a one-time thing where he started Boban and Skip to try to deter some of that, so they go 7-4 and 7-3. 7-3
and zone.
And zone to try to keep you from, because, even though those are not leapers, they hold their hands up, Skip. You're still in the forest. So,
like Ernestine said the other night, it should be illegal for him to play. He's too tall. Don't they have a cutoff?
Boban?
Yeah.
Because Boban be dunking, don't even leave.
Well, he just stands up and you can't get the ball over his hand. Okay.
Skip, I believe Kawhi and Paul George will be more aggressive. The thing they're going to have to guard against is that they're enticing other guys to shoot the three. They don't mind Reggie Jackson taking 20 shots. If Kawhi only has 20, if Paul George only has 20, we'll give you that, Reggie. That's what Rick Carlisle is basically saying. We will give you that because we don't believe Reggie Jackson can beat us. We know Kawhi can beat us. We know Paul George can beat us, but we don't believe he can score enough to beat us. And that means that the ball is in his hands, it's not in yours, Kawhi. It's not in yours, Paul George. My only concern is that they didn't shoot the ball. They shot the ball great. And they, like you said, you mentioned a home team making 23s and losing. Doesn't happen often.
It's never happened.
I'm not so sure that they're going to shoot the ball any better than what they've shot it last couple of games. And I don't know if that's going to be good enough for Dallas. So I'm going to take the Clippers 105 to 104, but Luka has another virtuoso performance, but it's not enough to overcome Paul and Kawhi.
Okay, if you were correct about that, then what happens in Game 7 back at Staples?
That's gonna be another dogfight. It's gonna come down. It's coming down to Finney-Smith, Hardaway, and Porzingis making shots because Luka's gonna get Luka. I think Ty Lue says, you know what? If he gets 35 points, if he gets 40 points, I just can't have him with 14 assists. I can't have him with 16, 17 assists because if he gets that many assists, somebody made shots. If they making shots, the Clippers can't beat them.
Okay, so I think you're leaning toward Clippers survive and advance.
Yes.
Correct?
I am leaning that way.
Okay, obviously I picked the Clippers this year to win it all. Not just the West, I picked them to win it all. And I told you, after I threw those shoes Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I'm losing track of the nights because we don't sleep anymore, right?
We don't.
Vampires. So I told you, I've seen enough of the Clippers. I can't take the Clippers anymore. The anguish that I was subjected to in the fourth quarter of that game took like 3 years off my life. And I don't even want to have to watch this game tonight because I think it's going to be a debacle of a disaster. I am so flipped from you. I think they were psychologically devastated the other night, and I do not think with a fairly quick turnaround they can get up off the mat because last I saw, Kawhi and Rondo were having a heated conversation as they left the floor, and it might have carried on into the locker room. It might have carried on into the team plane flight.
Rondo said, "What was that?
Yeah,
just
what
shoot
was
the
that?
ball. Why
What
you?"
was that? Yeah, what was that? Well, it was an
What
air
was
ball.
that?
It was an air ball. Huh? Huh? What are you're talking to me? Because I think Kawhi said something that started it, and Rondo said, "You're talking to me that way?" What? Okay, that's a problem. That's a bad look that will carry on into tonight. So I have a proposition for you. This is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to bet against the Clippers because I want them to lose tonight.
I took the Clippers.
I want them. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to bet.
So you taking the Mavericks?
Yes, I'm going to take the Mavericks because, number one, the Clippers don't deserve to win this game because they should have won the game at Staples. They've lost all 3 games at home, and I want them put out of their misery tonight because I cannot take a Game 7 at home because I believe with all my heart and soul that if they survive tonight, they will lose a 4th straight home playoff game, and I don't want to have to be subjected to it. So my point is, I am willing, I am so convinced, I think this is going to be a wipeout tonight. I think Dallas is going to win 125-95, and I am willing to bet you 5 cases right now against the Clippers.
Nope.
I'll take the Mavericks.
Nope.
For 5 cases, I'll take them.
Give me all 7 that I lost back last night.
All 7?
Yeah, you swindled me.
I didn't swindle
Yes, you did.
You proposed every bet.
No.
You proposed, you said that LeBron would make 7 threes last night.
I tell you what I do. I'll take the 5, and I'll give you the Mavericks. I'll take the Clippers. But Game 7, you give me the Clippers too.
Give you the Clippers in Game 7?
Yep.
Okay. For what? 5 more?
5 more.
Okay, done.
Okay.
I will do it. So I've got the Mavericks in Game 6.
6 and 7.
Okay, and I won't need them because they're going to cakewalk tonight.
No, they ain't gonna cakewalk.
You watch.
No, they ain't.
And this will be a virtual repeat of what happened 1 week ago tonight when they made 23s at home. And for the first time in playoff history, a home team making 23s lost the game. And I still can't. I look at the box score. I can't even make it compute in my head.
Because what happens when a team rains that many threes at home? The crowd is going crazy.
And it's packed.
It's deafening in there.
It's
yes.
packed. It's
yes.
Michael Irvin up in a box. It's Dak at courtside.
Yes.
They are out of their
Right.
minds. And usually just it's so resounding and reverberating that the visiting team can't even hear themselves think, right?
Right.
And usually you get blown off the floor.
Yes.
Well, it's always happened with 23s. And I still don't know how they did it, but they just kept putting their heads down and driving to the basket and making
I
another
know how they
2.
did it. Rick Carlisle gave Luka his normal break. But Skip, you saw what Monty Williams did last night with Book. Book ain't come out in that first quarter. He had to go. He said, and keep it going.
Okay.
That's what, and you see
And
what he
by
did.
the way, the game was over at 36-14 after a quarter.
But what did Coach Carlisle do the other night?
Well,
Luka had it going, keep it going.
Keep it going, but he rested him for like 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then here he came. And he stunk up at the fourth quarter, 1 for 8.
Fatigued. He's not used to, I mean, he's young. He's not used to playing like that. And we saw a little bit, we're going to talk about Dame Dollar down the street. We'll talk about him.
Okay,
But,
we will.
Skip, you just can't give him 40 and 14. Anything, you can give him 40, but you can't give him double-digit assists.
Okay, well, he's going to go Larry Bird on the Clippers tonight.
But
he will get 40. He will get 15 assists. You watch.
Well, if he gets that, it's over. You're not beating him if he gets those kind of numbers.
That's why I just bet you 5 cases.
Yeah,
on the
but
Mavericks.
I don't believe he go. I don't believe he. So in other words, you believe Hardaway Jr., Finney-Smith, Kleber, Porzingis are going to make shots.
They're
You believe it's going to be a
along
repeat
for
of
the
last Friday.
Absolutely, except this time there'll be no moss. There'll be no fight left in the Clippers because the Clippers know that they stunk it up to the point that they've given it up. And remember, psychologically, they're thinking, okay, at least we did enough to be respectable, because they did win the games 3 and 4, and it was impressive. You were highly impressed.
Yeah, that was, I mean, the way Kawhi, but I believe Kawhi and PG.
Okay, they've done enough that it won't get blown up after the season.
Oh, yeah, going to get blown up.
If they get blown up tonight, it won't get blown up.
You don't think so?
No, they've already done enough to show you, well, give us one more year together and we'll be a little better.
Is that how Kawhi thinks?
I don't know.
Exactly. You know, he's a free agent.
He's a free agent.
And he's been very non-committal. You know, now everybody's saying, well, I believe he'll sign back. But the one thing with Kawhi.
The Knicks need a superstar, don't they?
Yes. Mm-hmm. The one thing about Kawhi, Skip, is that really only two people really know what he's actually going to do. That's him and Uncle Dennis. Yeah. Now, I hadn't heard Uncle Dennis talk in like 2 years.
I haven't
So
either.
he got something brewing. He in the kitchen. He got something brewing, Skip. He got something brewing.
Well, I got 5 cases brewing tonight.
No, you ain't. I'm going to get
cases?
that.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. You guys are always betting about something.
I'm going to get that back.
No mercy.
Well, it's hard to say, but it was not a Hollywood ending for LeBron and company last night. Anthony Davis tried to play through a groin strain, but only lasted 5.5 minutes as the Lakers fell to the Suns 113-100. LA trailed by 22 after the first quarter and by as many as 29 in the game. It is the first time in LeBron's career that he's been eliminated from the playoffs in the first round, and the King finished with 29 points on 11 of 26 shooting. That included 3 of 10 from long range. Fox Sports NBA analyst Steven Jackson joining us now. Steven, please help us here. Give LeBron a letter grade for last night's performance and their early exit.
I'm sticking with the C- because, you know, you got to look at the supporting cast. You know, they didn't start playing till 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That was a season-ending game. They didn't come out and play the game with a sense of urgency. AD shouldn't have been on the court. It's a big slash and a big slap on the hand for the training staff and for the coaching staff. I don't care how much this game means to you. This shows how much they care about their players. The guy could barely walk and shoot around the game before. You're going to throw him out there to see what he can do just for your benefit? I don't like that at all. That wasn't a good look from the Lakers. They should have kept him on the sideline, let somebody else who's healthy, Montrezl Harrell. Everybody keeps saying his name. Give him a chance to go out there and just do what he can. But you're trying to force AD to do something when he's not physically able to do it. And what they did to that team, it killed everything. It killed the momentum. It killed anything they could have did at the beginning of the game to get them going, to get good rhythm going, because they're relying on a hurt player. And it was all downhill from there. Not even though Booker had an unbelievable game with 47 points, he was unstoppable. But the way they started that game, relying on a hurt player, knowing he was hurt, that killed the morale of the team. And you've seen that's how the game played out.
I agree with you. I gave him a C also. He was average. And in order for them to win this game and get to a game 7, he needed to be spectacular. He needed to be A++ stack. And there was no, and last night, and like you said, you get down, I mean, you let Book go off for what he went off 22 in the first quarter. He outscored you by himself. You scored 14 points. And so now, all of a sudden, you're already behind the 8 ball. It's going to take so much effort and energy for you even to get back into the ball game to catch back up with them. When you do, you see they made it a 10-point ball game at one point, but they could get it no closer because they were spent. All the legs were gone. And LeBron, he missed a few defensive rotations. He gambled on a couple of things and left guys spot him for threes. If the ankle is not what it needed to be, Stacks, and so he couldn't finish. We know LeBron normally can finish around the rim. That's one thing he could always do. And last night, he just didn't have the bounce. Missing those 27 games, the condensed season, the rapid turnaround. You're playing basically every other day at that level. He just didn't have it in him. And
this is the most frustrated I've ever seen him, Shannon. This is the most frustrated I've ever seen him. He didn't get back in about 5 plays. He just walked up the court. This is the most frustrated I've ever seen the King.
One time I saw it took him like 10 seconds. I thought he went side on the sideline, Skip. I said, well, damn, LeBron, are you coming back? Did he go sit down? Did they call a timeout? And then the ref didn't hear it. Did they still playing? Then all of a sudden I see him come back into the screen. But the problem also, Stacks, is that 47% of LeBron attempts were from 3. Now, Dame, Steph Curry, okay, but not you, LeBron. But like you said, I thought he was frustrated also. But I gave him a C because I thought he was average, and he needed to be spectacular in order for them to have a chance to force a game 7.
Okay, my turn. Look, I know that both of you two know LeBron and you like to the point of love LeBron, and I respect that. I like him off the court, but I'm going to be more objective, I think, than you two have been so far in this segment, because the truth is Shannon still calls him the best player on the planet, the king, the GOAT, and by those standards, I couldn't see LeBron James last night. I got to give him a D+, and I'll only give him the D+ just above an F for fail or flunk because I saw a burst of LeBron James in the third quarter. If we could first just see those 4 flashes of vintage LeBron in the third quarter when it was too late, but he started to chip back away at the lead. If we could see this is LeBron. This is the guy I used to know. Just drive it. Jay Crowder cannot keep you from the rim. Just attack. He cannot stop you. That's the king. That's the guy I wanted to see in the first quarter when he, instead of being in attack mode, was in sit-back mode. Dunk it. Dunk the damn ball, as Guy V. Lewis used to say for Phi Slam. Just dunk the damn thing. And again, in the first quarter, when I was on the edge of my seat for the king, I did not see competitive fire. I did not see refuse to lose. I did not see not in my house. I did not see I ain't going on no vacation yet, Phoenix Suns. I just didn't see that guy. He seemed passive. He seemed unaggressive. He seemed disengaged and at some points disinterested. And when Book went off, and he went off the way you rarely see anybody go off in a first quarter, scored 22 on 6 of 6 from 3. When we hit the second quarter, here's the LeBron I saw if we could see the 2 passes he threw. You want to talk about careless, I don't care passes? When it's still, there's plenty of time left, as we saw in the fourth quarter. They almost got back in it. Here's LeBron James in the second quarter. This is it. This is your elimination game. You've never been eliminated in the first. What is that?
Because KCP was supposed to. Why was KCP coming? Marcus was right there. That was bad. That was bad.
Dumb.
That was bad.
Come on, you're better than that. You're the best passer in basketball. You're just not into
now
it.
Go to the three-pointer on the other side.
Okay, but it's just wrong. It's like, no, you're the king. Show me, back it up. And I couldn't see him last night until that third quarter, and then all of a sudden they start chipping away, and they actually cut it to 10 in the fourth quarter. And there were moments when I thought, they're going to win this game, right? And if he had been more aggressive from the jump, I think they could have chipped away because it's still the Phoenix Suns, and there's only one player on that team, like Jay Crowder, I'll give you that, but 2 guys with some playoff experience, CP3 and Jay Crowder. LeBron James, in total, has played almost 40 more playoff games than the entire Phoenix roster, including Chris and Jay Crowder. Well, that's the guy I wanted to see. And again, ankle. I don't know. The ankle wasn't bothering him in the third quarter. That looked like LeBron.
Stacks, you can attest to this. You've been on the court, and we saw this, Skip. You remember the shrug game? You saw how it took the life out of Portland?
Yeah.
So imagine what Booker. There's nothing. I mean, he's shooting 3, step back 3 in AD's face, corner 3s, bomb 3s. He's getting whatever he wants.
Okay, remember, they were number 1 in defensive efficiency. The Los Angeles Lakers were. Where was that team? I don't know.
That team hadn't showed up, but they couldn't score, Skip. Remember, 14 points.
They couldn't score.
That's what it was.
Stack, you scored 14 points in a quarter, haven't you?
I can score 14 right now. I scored 32 and a half against Dallas and won the first half. But this a few things with last night. We got to give Phoenix credit.
Yes.
They did a great job in the court. They did a great job of shrinking the court, and the Lakers had nobody that could make plays. LeBron did a great job when he was missing shots, went to the block and tried to post up. Nobody couldn't feed him the ball. Obviously, they didn't work on that. But then another thing, too, we got to stop expecting Kobe and Jordan to come out of LeBron. Let LeBron be LeBron. We haven't seen Kobe. We keep expecting Kobe and LeBron to come out, Kobe and Jordan to come out of LeBron. We're not going to see that.
That's not who he is.
LeBron. That's not who he is. But we keep expecting that, and that's why other people be getting let down. LeBron is LeBron. He's great, and he is who he is. But we keep expecting him to turn into Jordan and Kobe. Jordan and Kobe at certain times, and that's not going to happen.
Okay, but I have seen him.
Phoenix did a great job of shrinking the court.
Steven,
Phoenix did a great job. We're not giving Phoenix enough credit.
Hey, there were times in his younger days 48 at Detroit in, what was it, Game 5? We're all the way back to 2007.
Let's give me 23.
How about 45 in Game 6, the potential closeout game at Boston in 2012?
Yeah.
I know it's a long time ago, but you say, don't expect Kobe or Joe. I saw it that night.
He 26,
right?
27.
Okay, I got it. So let me go back to Steven then. What percent of LeBron is left? Like, if you go LeBron at his greatest, what percent is he right now of the greatest of LeBron? Is he 80%, 75, 50?
I would say this year, well, right now he's about 80%. I mean, that's a lot of basketball been played in the last 12, 14 months, man. There's a lot of basketball been played by these guys. You know what I mean? And one thing about it, when David Robinson went down in 2003, when our other star went down in 2003, when Tim Duncan needed David Robinson and we still won the championship, Malik Rose stepped up.
Yeah.
But one thing about it, Pop kept Malik in the right frame of mind all year because he knew it was a possibility that Dave would go down because of his age. You know AD is injury prone. So you got to keep his backup happy. And everything is coming back to haunt them. This is karma from the way they treated Montrez, from the way they handled things. You know what I'm saying? This is all karma coming back to haunt them.
I know the play you're talking about, how they feed the post. LeBron James is on the block. Now, he's telling the guy, okay, throw it to the top of the key. He's telling Kuzma going to get the ball at the top of the key. Once the guy, because LeBron is going to seal it. So once he's sealing, give it to my hand. I'm done. I'm done with Kuzma.
Kuzma didn't even look. He didn't even look.
Thank you. I know the exact play you was talking about, Stat.
They don't work on that. But LeBron was smart, though. His jumper wasn't falling. He went to the block. And that's where he was going to make it work, but they couldn't get it to him. Like I said, he was frustrated more than I ever seen him, but you got to give credit to Phoenix. We're not giving them enough credit. They went in there and won that game. They came to that game and played with sense of urgency. Like Dallas, like the Clippers didn't play with sense of urgency. Phoenix came in and played with sense of urgency to end this series because they know if it was a possibility that Anthony Davis can get another day of rest and come back, they would lose this series. So they did right. They handled their business. Shout out to the Phoenix Suns.
Yep. If you get an opportunity to end the series, end it. Well, we got Game 7. It's going to be in our building. You never know. Strange things happen in Game 7. You know, think about it, Skip. A twist ankle here or a tweak hamstring or groin there, and now you're in the situation that the Lakers are in, and all bets are off.
All right. I got one last question for Steven Jackson. Did you see from the tip-off a sense of urgency from LeBron James?
I'm not just going to single him out like that. I didn't see a sense of urgency from nobody on their team. Not one person.
Nope. And
you know what? LeBron is great, but he don't win games without his team. I'm sorry, he just don't. He's always had another player. He's always had help. The team did not show up. I mean, what did Schroeder do again? I love Schroeder as a player, but you asking for $100 million, you got to show up in these games. People don't like the truth sound like hate to people who hate the truth, and that's just the truth.
Marc Gasol, you want to start Marc Gasol.
Well, he
start
did.
Marc Gasol. Okay, what did he give you? In 17 minutes, he gave you 0 points. At least Drum's going to give you double-digit rebounds in the same amount of time. How did they start? What did they do at the start of the game? What did Phoenix do? Kept him in the high pick and roll. Why? Because Marc Gasol can't slide his feet.
What did I tell you all along? Maybe Vogel was listening to me. Put the big penguin on ice. He didn't even play.
Yeah, that's okay. Big penguin. We're gonna talk about that. Big penguin coming back.
Okay.
I love him in this. Yo, guy. Oh, Gasol. 0 points. Me and Marc Gasol had the same amount of points, but my plus minus was better than his, Stat. And I was on my couch.
Shout out to Phoenix Suns supporting cast, man. They did their job.
Yeah, Crowder, Bridges.
Give them that.
They had looking like Mike Conley.
Poor LeBron. He didn't have enough help.
Cameron Payne. Look at Cameron Payne. Looking like Mike Conley out there.
Oh, Skip, I heard how you wrapped that thing up. Yeah. Poor LeBron, he didn't have...
You're a hater.
He did have enough help. Well, that brings up a good question. And, Steven, thank you so much for joining us. Always good to have you and your energy on Undisputed.
No mercy.
Well, check it out, Shannon. It looks like it's time for LeBron and his new Banana Boat buddies to start their offseason. But the Kings teammates could look much different next year after last night's blowout loss.
Yeah.
How good is this? I may have had a little say in making sure we got this photo in here. Dennis Schroeder reportedly turned down a 4-year extension from the Lakers earlier this season. Andre Drummond did not play a single minute last night, despite being a midseason ad that suggested he'd be a cornerstone piece to the Lakers' title hopes. Only 7 current Lakers are secured to be on the roster for next season. So, Shannon, I got to ask you, since, it's all about what you think here, which Laker would you get rid of?
Well, look, obviously the two untouchables are LeBron and AD. So we know for definitively they will be back.
Okay.
For me, I'm keeping Drum and I'm keeping Horton Tucker. Horton Tucker's only 20 years of age, Skip. He turns the ball over, but he's aggressive. He plays hard. Yeah, he gets lost in the shuffle sometimes, but he's only 20. I can live with that. The effort is there. The skill set is there. That other stuff, I can work with him and says, okay, we got to pick our spots a little better. We need to know when to go, when to slow, and do those things. So that's something you can work with. Skip, I like Caruso, but Caruso's injury prone. He can't stay healthy. What happened last night, Skip? Ankle, boom. Remember, he missed significant time again this year. And I didn't see the...
Well, he just blows himself up. He's a kamikaze. He's all over the floor.
And Skip, I didn't see the Caruso this year outside of the bubble that I saw Caruso inside the bubble.
Really? I thought he was pretty good.
Nah, he had some okay games. But those are the guys that I'm going to keep. Schroeder, let it go. Let it go. I just don't think he wants a max contract, $100 million contract, and I don't see him as that player. I don't, Skip. I mean, hey, he might get it from somebody, but the Lakers can't give him that. So for me, all the other guys, they can be replaced. And people say, well, Shannon, drum. What people are expecting, they're expecting the drumming of Detroit and Cleveland. The guy that can take as many shots as he wants, played as free as he wanted to, and gave you 18 and 18. Sometimes, Skip, he gave you 30 and 20. A lot of times he gave you 20 and 20. But that's not what he's asked to do. He's a rebounding machine. Skip, he averaged 10 and a half, 11 rebounds a game in the 5 games that he started. So now he's only played how many games? So he only played what? Maybe 8, 9 games with LeBron and AD, including the playoffs? I think he'll be a valuable addition if they can secure him for another couple of years. But other than that, look here, I made it abundantly clear. If Kuzma on the roster, one or two things got to happen. Either Kuz go or I go. You want my fandom or you want him mucking it up?
Okay. Well, you pretty much blew it all up, right?
Yeah, we got to, Skip.
Okay.
No, we can't. The status quo ain't going to work for us.
All right, I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to start with Dennis Schroeder, who had stretches of stardom this year. There are times he is electric.
Right.
He has quickness I don't see around the league.
Well, that game 2 or game 3 when he had 24, Skip, and he just like...
He is, you want to talk about blow-by Prince, man? He's got supreme quickness. Yet, he got COVID late in the year, and I'm not sure he ever bounced back from it because his playoff numbers are pathetic. And maybe that's just who he is. I don't know. But he shot only 31% from 3 in the playoffs. That's going to get you beat because they were already bad enough without him doing that.
Right.
Because they ranked 23rd in three-point shooting. Somebody's got to rise and shine and take that part over.
Hey, wasn't he in the running for 6th man of the year last year?
Yeah.
I think he was top 3, Lou Will, and Trez. Trez won it.
Definitely. He just didn't really look like himself after he got COVID, and I don't know sometimes, as you well know, it's inexplicable. It hits some people hard.
Well, Jason Tatum says he's still not.
And Myles Garrett had a bad bout of it. So it's mysterious. I don't know.
Right.
But here's the problem with Schroeder to me. He would not defer to the king. And you have to defer some. You have to show him that you're along for the ride with him. You have to show him you'll do your part and you'll be there for him when he really needs you.
Right.
When he hits you with the wide open 3-point shot, you're going to nail that shot for him. But you have to genuflect for the king. And I'm saying that in a good way. Like you have to show LeBron, I'm with you. I want to be your guy. And he's his own guy.
Right.
And
it was more important to him, Skip, to be the starting point guard than fulfilling a role that was going to help a team to repeat as a champion.
Yeah.
It was very important to him. I'm a point guard. I want to start.
Made it clear in his first media session.
Exactly.
Why was Oklahoma City such a surprise last year? Well, they had Chris Paul, but they also had Schroeder coming off the bench, and he would just light people up.
Right.
It changed games Ginobili style, because that's what Manu did for all those years for the Spurs. He would come in and just wreak havoc, and it's hard to deal with his energy and skill level coming off the bench.
Correct.
Okay, so Schroeder never bought into LeBron.
Never
he's
embraced
his own. He's flying solo out there, and he wants his money and he wants his stardom.
Right.
So I'm going to assume, even though he said last night he indicated he wants to be a Laker, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Hey.
That's just talk.
Okay.
He wants to get paid.
Now to your guy Drummond. I told you this, I first guessed it, and I'm going to third and fourth and fifth guess it. He's too much of a lane clogger and a ball stopper for LeBron. He gets in LeBron's way because he is the classic postman who posts up, and I'm talking about post. He doesn't have a sky hook. He doesn't have a 10-foot jump shot. His range is 1 foot away from the basket. That's LeBron's super highway, and he's in the way too often to me. So he wasn't a good fit with LeBron. His numbers are pretty good, 12 and 10 during the regular season with the Lakers, and then 9 and 11 in the playoffs. It's pretty good. And he even made 7 or 10 free throws in the playoffs. I was impressed with that. I didn't think he was capable of doing that. I just don't think he's a good fit.
I think Bron loves him because who did he call for most of the screens? Who did the screens come from?
Yeah.
Big Ping. Because Bron knows I would be able to get by because once he set a pick, you ain't coming through there, bro.
Big Penguin's got an NFL body.
He does. He does.
I will give you that.
He better a heck of a tackle.
Okay, he might have. You know what? Like a left tackle, right? Oh, I'm with you. Woo. Okay, Gasol, I told you going in, he's like a human glacier now.
Yeah.
He can't move the way he used to, but he shot 41% from 3 in the regular season. That will work for LeBron because he can get out of the way and he can pick and roll and step back and make the 3.
But he can't start, Skip. He has to play or he has to be a reserve. He can't play, but then how many minutes are you going to play? Yeah. You good with 20 minutes a night?
Yeah. Probably not. Okay. He's probably seen his best days.
Okay.
And then finally, Kyle Kuzma. Look, there's only one way he would have worked here. They needed to embrace him. I'm talking about LeBron and AD as the third star, as a co-star, as part of their big 3. And they rejected him. They don't respect him, and he felt it. So this year in the regular season, he tried to become a role player where he did windows. You know, he crashed the glass and tried to do all the dirty work.
Right.
He wants to be a star. And so he goes into the postseason, he has no confidence. Look at his shooting. Shot 29% from the floor. He's 14 of 48 against Phoenix from the floor. Really?
Right, thank you.
17% from 3, 4 of 23. That's just nightmarish.
But, Skip, the thing that he has to understand is that star players, the one thing that superstar players and elite players have is basketball IQ. I'm not saying he's not a good basketball player. He might even be a great basketball player on a bad team with low expectations.
You know what?
Somewhere like Sacramento.
I think he could.
Yes.
Because if the coach embraces him and loves him and hugs him and,
let him do whatever
encourages, just shoot it.
Right.
Green light him.
Right.
Boy, he can get going and he can shoot the lights out.
But he doesn't understand. I mean, the lob, he and LeBron, 2-on-1. What does he do? He hit the bottom of the rim with the lob. After Caruso laid it up, LeBron does it. Here he comes, boom. He can't feed the post. He fouls unnecessarily.
Okay.
He skipped last night and Devin Booker. You see Book got it going. He's 7 of 8 from the 3.
Yep.
You play him to drive. He pulls up and hit a 3 right in your face. I'm like, Kuzma.
Okay. And my final quick point is THT, he should start. He should be the new
play him at
LeBron. 2? Yeah, play him at the 2 to LeBron.
So
he should be the new shooting guard.
You going to let KCP go?
Well, I mean, you can still utilize. He plays good defense.
He played good defense, but he lost some of his. Now he played. Last night was his best game. Yeah. Was KCP's best game.
But LeBron loves THT. He's a clutch client, and LeBron has already blessed him as a young player. Yeah. Just go with that.
Because he has ability.
He was
he gets to the basket.
Look what he did last night. 6 of 9 shots. Right. He was good.
And remember, he hit the big shot against the Knicks.
He did.
So he's unafraid of the moments for him to be 20 years of age.
Yep.
But there got to be some changes. Like I said, either Kuz or my fandom. But one of them can't. We both can't be there.
That could be the ending for Kuz too. There's a long offseason to make these changes for the Lakers. They're going to be thinking about that one. No mercy. Tomorrow on Fox, it's one of the greatest rivalries in sports as the Red Sox take on the Yankees, or the Dodgers battle the Braves, or Cubs-Giants. Tomorrow, 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check local listings for the game in your area. Damian Lillard and the Blazers will be joining the Lakers and head home early this year. Just days after his epic 55-point game, Lillard only put up 28 points in the Game 6 loss to the Nuggets last night on 3 of 11 shooting from deep and 8 of 20 overall. So, Shannon, please give Dame a letter grade for last night.
I gave him a B, Skip. He was gassed. 52 minutes in the double overtime. Skip, he rested for 30 seconds in the second half. 30 seconds. And when you're a jump shooter, first thing to go is your legs. You can't play it like you said, Skip. I believe that double nickel game that he had, and they were right there. It took it out of them. They put everything they could in that game, and they didn't get it. So for me, he rested a total of 4 minutes and 30 seconds for the entire game. So he played 42. He's played what? What did he play last? I got it right here. 43 minutes and 23 seconds last night. 52 minutes 2 nights earlier. It just took too much energy out of him. So I just want to get, because I like to provide, what Skip and I like to do here on this show is we like to provide context. Now, I'm not going to call the guy's name, but I'm going to tell you what a guy did about 20-something years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago. He dropped 63 in a double overtime game in which they lost. He came back the next game in game 3 and scored 19 points. Now, people might not believe this, but he was the 3rd leading scorer on his own team in that game 3 loss. John Paxson had 24. The great Dave Corzine. I know you remember Dave Corzine because he played for your favorite team, San Antonio Spurs. You remember? Had the beard. Yeah. I know you know Dave Corzine. He scored more points than this guy, who in a double overtime, he played 53 minutes. Dame played 52 minutes. Dame followed that up with another 43 minutes, and then so I'm just going to show you that when you play those kind of minutes, you're a jump shooter, which your guy was at that time, it zaps it out of you. So I gave him a B. There's nothing else. Skip, what cost him the game was Nurk getting in foul trouble because he couldn't do anything with Yoke. Can you say it with me? Is Yoke the MVP? Is Yoke the MVP? I want you to say it right now in front of national team.
We're not talking about Yoke. Joel Embiid is better than Yoke any day, any night,
he's not.
Any week,
Skip,
any
the man
month.
hurt. When last time you saw Joel Embiid play?
Okay, back to the case at hand.
I gave a B.
You say you like to provide context.
Yes.
No, you like to provide absurd excuses for players that you buy into that I don't. I don't buy into Damian Lillard in the big picture because he can't sell me. And this was another night where he came up even smaller than he is at about, we give him 6'2" or 3. I'm going to give him an F because this was an epic fail. This is an elimination game in Portland against a team that you can beat. You're about 50-50.
No, we're a 3-6. That ain't 50-50. 4-5 is 50-50.
There's no Jamal Murray for the other team. There's no Will Barton, who was their starting point guard. They're down 2 of their 5 starters.
Yes.
So you should be evenly matched with them at home. You should at least be able to hold serve and get it back to Denver for a Game 7. And what happened in the second half, I don't want to hear about tired. It's not like they had to play back-to-back after his double nickel game. They didn't have to play Thursday night. It was Friday night.
Yeah, you got to play
back-to-back. Don't put Damian Lillard in the same sentence with Michael Jeffrey Jordan, or we're going to get struck by lightning.
No, Skip. You looking at Michael Jeffrey Jordan as a finished product. I'm talking about at the time that he did what he did, and Dame Lillard is a better complete player than Michael was. That was his second year in the league, Skip.
It's his second year in the league.
Okay.
He's coming off a broken foot that cost him almost the entire year for a team that was sub 500, and he came back for the last 7 games of the regular season and played the playoffs against one of the greatest teams ever, the Boston Celtics.
But you didn't say anything about LeBron coming off an ankle injury.
Let's not change the subject from Damian Lillard. What did Damian do with the money on the table? It got pushed to the table in the second half. It's 50-50. It's back and forth, and it's a teeter-totter game between 2 teams that are deadly evenly matched. And what does he do in the second half? He goes 1 for 9. He goes 0 of 6 from 3.
Okay.
You can have tired legs all you want, but when we got to the fourth quarter, he went 1 for 6 and 0 of 3 from 3 in a game that with 6:12 left was tied at 108.
So I just want to hear you. Just make sure I'm hearing you correctly. NBA players are not allowed to get tired.
Just stop it with tired. Are you that guy or not? This is a home game in a series in which the previous home game, which was Game 4, you went 1 for 10.
Hold on, Skip.
Really?
Skip.
And he's a superstar. We've never seen anybody as clutch as this guy.
Ty Lue said Kawhi was tired. Is Kawhi that guy or not?
I've told you repeatedly he is not that guy.
That's not what you said. You told me he was the best player when he got to L.A. That's what you said. You said he was the best player in the league when he got there, but that's not here nor there. But Skip, what I can't understand, now Michael Jordan, when he started, they lost the first 2 games in Boston.
Don't go with Michael Jordan. You can't do it.
Yes, you can.
He went 6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs. This guy has never even sniffed an NBA finals. This guy has come up small in so many playoff
What was he in 1986?
Oh, stop it.
Let me ask you a question.
Is that all you got?
How about I do it like this here? How many times
criticize Jordan?
How many times as the lower seed has Michael Jordan won a series?
I don't care. I'm talking about Damian Lillard.
Exactly.
No, I'm talking about
you don't want to do contact, Skip.
I'm talking about a Damian Lillard who came up so small, getting swept in 2018 by the New Orleans Pelicans, and he missed a game-winning shot in Game 2.
So Jordan never missed a game-winning shot. Okay. So what NBA player?
What reaching for Jordan? Just leave him out of this.
Let me ask you this.
We're talking about a guy who's never proven anything. This was a first-round series.
Stop saying that. Just because, Skip, you got to stop doing this. You and others.
I dare you to go back and look at the 2019 Western Conference Finals. Golden State did not have Kevin Durant. So it basically was Stephen Clay against CJ and Dame. And go look at what Dame did in the fourth quarter. Go look at the fourth quarters. I dare you.
Who had gone to
I dare you to look at the fourth quarters.
Finals without Kevin Durant. That's the same Golden State team that went 73-9.
You say, we've never seen anything like this. And I told you, on one night, that was the greatest distance clutch shooting I've ever seen in one single game. But that does not make him a superstar because he's not. And he's been proven wrong again and again and again. How can you defend it? You gave him a B for 1 for 9 in the second half and 0 for 6 for 3?
What superstar has never missed a game-winning shot? But you still have yet to tell me how many series did Jordan win when he was the underdog?
Oh, stop it. I don't care.
Why don't you care?
Okay. How many finals has Damian been to?
Skip,
how about Big Zero?
He hadn't been to any.
Yeah. How many has he gotten close? No, he hadn't even gotten close. He got swept by Golden State with no KD.
So in the Western Conference Finals, is that not close?
Are you that guy or not? Are you that guy?
So was Jordan that guy? So Jordan wasn't a guy until he became the guy, right?
Just please, we're going to get struck.
No, we're not, Skip. Because Skip, what you do, everybody do. All they say 6-0. So what about the years before? What about the years after 6-0? Do they not matter?
We're talking about a golden apple versus a rotten orange.
Skip,
that's what we're talking about.
All I'm saying, Skip, is that if you provide context for this, you said Jordan 63 followed up by 19. So why did he score 19 points? He was at home.
Just stop it.
He was at home.
I'm not going to dignify that. If that's your argument here, you got none.
Ain't no dignifying.
Can you explain why Damian Lillard went 1 for 9 and 0 for 6 from 3?
I just told you.
Oh, he was tired.
So why Jordan scored 19? Why did Jordan score 19? Why did he score 19?
I'm not going to dignify
Exactly.
Next.
He got outscored by Dave Corzine and John Paxson. But Skip won't tell you why.
Oh, stop it.
No mercy.
Well, it was not a Hollywood ending for LeBron and company last night. Anthony Davis tried to play through a groin strain, but only lasted 5.5 minutes as the Lakers fell to the Suns, 113-100. LA trailed by 22 after the first quarter and by as many as 29 in the game. It's the first time in LeBron's career that he's been eliminated from the playoffs in the first round. The King finished with 29 points on 11 of 26 shooting that included 3 of 10 from long range. Michael Rapaport is the host of the I Am Rapaport podcast and one of the stars of the Netflix hit series Atypical. He is joining us now. Rap, I know you stayed up late to watch this one. How disappointing was the King last night?
Extremely disappointing. LeBron James looked disinterested, disengaged, discouraged. He looked out of breath. He looking like his head was in the Looney Tune clouds, ready for the Monstars to come and save him. But Superman, Iron Man, Batman, the Black Panther, none of those people could save him and the Lakers from the inevitable. You asked me, what did he look like? It was disappointing. LeBron James was laughing, showing up Jay Crowder just a couple of days ago. Okay? At this point, he does not inspire his teammates. Okay, he flails his arms when they miss shots. He doesn't run back on defense. I think he causes and creates self-doubt in young players. He left the court when they were losing just a couple of nights ago. I think he tried to humiliate Jay Crowder. Why would he try to do this? Mr. Team, Mr. I'll never cheat the game. You can tell that his teammates that are not from Le Clutch Sports, they don't like him. Speaking of Le Clutch Sports, why are there 6 players on the Los Angeles Lakers from LeBron James's agency? In Los Angeles, we call that packaging. We finally put a stop to that. 6 players
Hey, can I ask you
on
a
the
question?
Los Angeles Lakers are from Clutch Sports.
Mike.
Did Rob Pelinka, does he get a kickback? Did Rob Pelinka sign with
Mike.
Clutch Sports? Does Adam Silver need to intervene? Did the government, they got involved with steroids, do they need to investigate what is going on with Clutch Sports and the Los Angeles Lakers, Shannon? And you know what's upsetting, Shannon?
Yeah.
You've talked for hour after hour after hour. I come on here humbly to
humbly,
bring the
really?
issue. I got a broom and everything. I come on here humbly to talk to you, and you won't even let me get it out. Let me tell you something. These LeBron fans, one day there will be a 20-part LeBron James Last Dance like documentary, and he will finally catch up with the GOAT. He will finally outdo Michael Jordan. But when that documentary comes out, it's going to make Michael Jordan look like a softie. I think this guy is the fakest guy in the league. I think he berates his teammates. I think he puts self-doubt in them, and I don't like it. And the broom is here. People say, why do you have the broom? The broom is here because the Los Angeles Lakers need a deep, deep front office cleaning. Frankie the flunky, Vogel, he needs to go, okay? The Staples Center needs a deep cleaning. That ring, that championship that they won in the bubble, we put that where the Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa home runs are. There's an asterisk next to that. They're done. They're cooked. Their goose is cooked. But the question, I'll throw this back to you, Shannon. Mm-hmm. Where do we go from here?
What do you mean, the Knicks?
No. We're not talking about the Knicks. We're not talking about the Knicks. We're talking about the Lakers. Where do we go from here? Where do the investors of Space Jam go to here? Do fans really want to see a flailing, aging star? We watched this guy's beard go from dark black to gray from Game 5 to Game 6. I've never seen that in my life. The guy actually his beard grayed during the series. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Sly Stallone, The Rock, we believe in them as superheroes. Do fans want to sit and watch a guy that we know can't do it anymore?
I know a team right now in Madison Square Garden to take him and pay him max dollars to get him. Close your mouth, because you would. Now, let me ask you this, before we go any further, before I go into my point of view, how many actors on a movie set you think are rep by CAA? Is there a quota for how many? So you can only have, hold on, no. Just make sure so speak carefully, because you do know my attorney is in the building that CAA used to lock. So I've seen a lot of actors and actresses coming out of that building. So just for clarification for our people at home, because you said how many Clutch Sports athletes are on the Lakers, so how many CAA rep actors are in a particular movie? Is it one?
We're not talking about the actors. Only in our business, we stop packaging. The agents can no longer package. Packaging means where a company, an agency will have the producer, the director.
I know what it means.
Sometimes, but I'm explaining it to the audience. Why is there 6 players? Look, Clutch Sports. Clutch Sports is essentially LeBron James agency. Rich Paul and those guys, they're in cahoots. And Rich Paul has done a great job. 6 players on one team. I am asking you, Shannon, you're an insider.
Yeah.
Does Rob Pelinka get a kickback for that?
But see,
there's 6 players on that team.
See, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to distract. But when David Falk had all the clients, when Aaron Mintz, who was the guy? Leon Rose. When he had all the guys, I didn't hear you say that. But let me get back to my point. Look.
Guys in the league, I'm saying on one team. It's one team. I don't talk about
I'm not going to let you sidetrack me. The Lakers were very disappointing because there were greater expectations than getting booted in the first round. Injuries, AD missing half the season, LeBron missing a third of the season, had a lot to do with that. They limped into the playoffs. They're limping out of the playoffs. But here's the thing. They were the 7th seed. It just goes to show you the level of expectations that comes along with LeBron James. Never in the history did anybody think a 2 seed would advance in front of a 7 seed would advance in front of a 2 seed, unless it's LeBron James. You know that, and I know that. Michael Jordan was never favored as the lower seed versus the higher seed. Was he?
My friend, Why do you bring up Michael Jordan?
Because context. Context matters.
With his big shoulders, there's no hand checking. Of course, he's the greatest driver of the basketball of all time, to quote the great Skip Bayless, who's sitting right in front of me. Drip Bayless, because you cannot touch him. And when you do touch him, I'm the best actor in the world. I could see 3 rims. Just a few weeks ago, he's lucky to be in the play. You know what, Shannon and the Laker fans and LeBron fans, you should just be saying thank you.
That's the Knicks fans should be saying that.
You should be saying thank you. You duked it out with little Steph Curry.
Y'all lost to little Trae Young. Y'all spit on Trae. Y'all spit on Trae. You spit on Trae Young, little ice Trae.
Those guys, they're animals. And I want to just give a little message to Joel Embiid. This is off the subject. Do not do what Anthony Davis tried to do. If you have a little tear, and then I love the Philadelphia fans. I love the Sixers, Rocky Balboa, Allen Iverson, the Philadelphia Sound. Do not do it. If you have a tear, please do not Brandon Roy yourself. You got to sit out. Who was responsible for putting the battery in the back for AD last night? Why didn't his agents, his managers say, don't do it? You're not Willis Reed. AD tried to do it for the gram. Willis Reed did it for really real. He took a needle this long in the leg. I documented it in my award-winning 30 for 30 when the Garden was eating a needle in his leg. What was he trying to do last night? He's going to be a free agent.
Hater.
Is it time AD says, you know what, I'm done being a follower and I want to do it on my own? Come to New York, my friend.
Exactly. I knew it.
Come to New York.
So I am enjoying Michael Rapaport so much that I have not yet spoken in this segment.
I was worried about that.
And yet, I want to applaud him because the answer to Jenny's original question is that LeBron James was supremely disappointing because he is the king, you say. Yeah. He's still the GOAT, you say. He's still the best player on the planet, you say.
He is.
And that was as disappointing a 6 games from LeBron James as we've ever seen in his career. I was aghast at how disengaged and disinterested he often was. And I was shocked to the point of a little nervous because I don't want to lose LeBron. I didn't want to lose him from the playoffs, but I'm afraid we're going to lose him in the next year or two because he was aging right before your very eyes. And I'm going to bring this up.
Great, Skip.
Yeah, look, here's the problem with LeBron is he is in Hollywood now, and you and I have talked about this. He does enjoy his cigars the way Jordan started to enjoy his at the end of his career, and LeBron's got his wine cellar up in Malibu, and he enjoys his nightly wine. Well, at some point, maybe that starts to catch up with you a little too much in year 18 going on 19. I don't know if he's as committed to his fitness level because he's got 1,000 things going on in his life, not to mention his wife and kids.
That's why that's why you have Maverick. That's why you have Rick.
Okay.
That's why you have Randy.
All of them great at what they do.
Exactly. Yeah. And have Savannah, who's really the queen that handles it all, and all he gets an opportunity to do is just focus on the game.
He is a mogul.
Yeah.
He is dominating Hollywood. Yeah. And it's hard to dominate Hollywood and the NBA as you turn 36.
The really good ones can delegate. He's delegated, and I focus on what I need to focus on. But I know one team that would love to have LeBron James. William Michael Rapaport, but it's never going to happen. I told you bums were going out in the first round.
We don't want him. We don't do bandwagoning. We're on the way up.
What you mean we?
Bandwagon. They do that in Brooklyn, that soulless team. But we ain't here to talk about the Knicks, my friend.
I talk about the Knicks. It's my show. We talk about whatever I want to talk about.
I have a question, Shannon.
Yes.
Since it's your show. Did it break your heart? Were you concerned watching LeBron James huff and puff and be out of breath last night? Because I was concerned. I was like, yo, does this dude need an oxygen mask? We're not in Denver.
You know what I was thinking?
For the dude. He's like,
Michael Rapaport, you know what I was thinking? I say, damn, LeBron is looking like Julius Randle right before my eyes. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, speaking of Julius Randle.
Yeah,
speaking of Lonzo Ball, speaking of B.I., don't you wish you had those guys?
No.
Don't you wish you didn't sell the
give
house
me
for AD?
Give me AD.
Yeah, Mike, this is my least favorite part of the show. I hate to interrupt you. I wish we could keep you for 2.5 hours. Skip didn't even say a lot. He just sat back and he enjoyed listening to you talk about
Y'all really cool.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
No mercy.
For the first time in his career, LeBron has been bounced from the playoffs in the first round. The Suns jumped out to a 36-14-point lead in the first quarter. And despite his best efforts, LeBron's 29 points was not enough to bring the Lakers back within striking distance. The King will need to wait another season until he begins the quest for his fifth ring. So, Shannon, did LeBron's first round exit close the case? Close the case that MJ is the GOAT?
No, because if it did, Michael should have never been considered the GOAT. In first 10 playoff games, he was 1-9. So how the hell you get to be considered the GOAT 1-9 in your first 10 playoff games? No, that's impossible. No.
Did he stink in those games?
It doesn't matter. Skip, he lost. So now, as long as we play good, what about the games that LeBron has played great in and they lost? That's not what you said. You said if he was so great, he'd have got the ball over the line. That's what you tell me. Now it's just about being good. As long as individual in a team sport, you're good, that's okay. No, don't do that, Skip. No. You know on the menu. At my restaurant, what you get? You get dubs or L's. And Michael, first 10 times coming to my restaurant, I served him 9 L's. That's what I served him. No, I'm a firm believer. If you believe in Michael, you still do. If you believe in LeBron, Skip, I don't believe you can sway. It's kind of like what we see going on. You believe what you believe, or you don't believe what you believe. It's as simple as that, Skip. I don't believe you can change anybody's mind right now.
Shannon, this was over a long time ago.
No, it wasn't. Stop saying that.
LeBron's track record is marred by too many epic fails. And
Did he play good?
That's the point. 2010 versus Boston, that last first go-around series in Cleveland, when Dan Gilbert accused him of quitting in games 4, 5, and 6. Was Jordan ever accused of quitting?
Skip, allegations is not a myth.
Okay, well, that's number one. Then 2011 finals, that's no allegation because that was the all-time finals meltdown we have ever seen. Did that ever happen to Jordan? No.
Skip, all I'm saying is that 2011 happened. That's all you got. You got that on me. 2011 happened, but the 2 years in Wizards also happened.
2013, Game 6, it was epic fail down the stretch, including missing the last shot.
Did he
to
win?
tie. Yeah, he won because of Ray Allen. And then the next year, he did not win. 2014, he stunk after the Game 1 loss at San Antonio, and they got blown off the floor by a record finals margin because he was not there.
Skip.
Disengaged, disinterested.
Think about it.
Done with D-Wade.
Skip, you just said the man, he stunk in 2014. He was 28-7-7. 28-7-7.
Go look at games 3 and 4 in Miami and tell me what you don't see, because you don't see much.
All I'm saying, for the 5 games, he was 28-8-7 for stinking. He lost the finals to the Golden State Warriors where he was 36-13-9, and he lost. But you didn't say, oh, he was great. You talk about what he could have done and what he should have done.
Then 2018, Game 1 at Oracle, when he scores 49 in regulation and he passes up the last shot over Steph Curry. He had him dead to rights, just go up and shoot it. Kicks it to George Hill, and disaster happened after that. Predictably.
What about 90?
And what happened in overtime? He quit on his team.
Let me ask you a question.
He quit.
What about 95? How Michael looked, stumbling on the court in the Houston Conference Finals against Orlando? How did he look?
He'd been out for 2 years.
Oh, hold on. But you didn't say that when he dropped that double nickel in the Garden. He had been out for 2 years. They applauded that. You see what you do every time. If it's something good, oh, he did it. If it's something bad, but he was out 2 years. He was off a year and a half. He sat out 3 years. But if he wins a title in Washington after sitting out, you're not saying he sat out. He like, oh, he go. No, I'm not going to let you and others do that. Washington is on his resume. It ain't nothing LeBron has ever did look like that.
Age 38 and 39, after he had retired for 3 years, he came back as a ceremonial player in Washington.
No.
That's it.
We don't do ceremony. Skip, what is this?
They weren't even a 500
Skip, this
team.
ain't the Masters where you have 3 guys tee out ceremony. You have Gary Player had one of the black.
For a stretch this year, LeBron James was the MVP frontrunner.
Yeah.
And
what happened?
He just delivered the worst playoff series of his career.
No.
And all of his numbers were career worst, career worst, career worst.
No, but you won't tell the people what happened. Okay, how did he go from MVP frontrunner to where we are now? What happened in between?
Father time.
Oh, so the ankle injury didn't happen?
It happened a long time ago on March 20th.
Skip. For real?
For real.
So that is
I just closed the case because LeBron just shut the door on his own foot. That's what just happened.
I'm with LeBron in this camp, and many others are, just like many are in Jordan's camp. That's okay.
No mercy.